Ladies and gentlemen, it has taken us 9 months to reach this point, but finally, from the start of the season in Doha, all the way through to where we find ourselves today, I can finally say to you, welcome along everybody, and welcome to a brand new GC playoffs here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We have truly lived up to our name as Global Champions League, because over 15 stages, 4 different continents, a first step onto the African continent, and now a brand new playoffs here in Saudi Arabia in the city of Riyadh. We are redefining how show jumping looks in the world and how it looks in the sport. My name is Mark Lewis and this is GCTV. We have over 11 million euros up for grabs over these next few days, and we will take our time to explain to you how these next few days are going to look. The format of what you know from a Global Champions League goes out the window, and we completely redefine what a GCL Super Cup looks like, with a quarterfinal stage today, a semi-final stage, and then a grand final at the end of the weekend. There is so much to unpack in today's show. That location, a format explainer, teams, riders, managers, they will all be coming here into the GCTV studio to give us some perspective on how they feel about being here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the sensational playoffs, and how they feel about jumping this dreaded quarterfinal. For now though, let's get some energy, let's get some feel, and let's get a first look at our teams as we head down into the arena. Rosie Turner standing by. She is giving us some behind the scenes action like she does best. Rosie, what you got for us tonight?
Well, as ever, we love to bring you behind the scenes, and the Walk of Champions, the opening ceremony, is about to start. Have a little look, because all the teams are starting to line up before they head into the main arena. Let's just have a look at some of these teams. Everyone's getting excited. The atmosphere is really starting to build, and the team who will be jumping tonight are the Shanghai Swans, really wanting to redeem themselves tonight. They will be jumping 5th tonight as well, as you can see all of them here. And as we keep going on, we've got the Istanbul Warriors, we've got Volkenswaard United, who will also be jumping. Edwina and Marcus Enning obviously have jumped this many times before. They've been in the team, they know what it takes. A team that have won the Super Cup previously are Madrid in Motion. They are here as well. I wonder if we can grab a quick word with some of them. They're in a bit of a chat, so I tell you what, we'll leave them to it for now. But let's keep going round over here, if the camera can follow me. We've got a few more. We've got Prague Lions. They will be jumping this evening as well. Thibaut Spitz here. Thibaut, I wonder if we can grab a word. This is going to be your first Walk of Champions. How are you feeling ahead of it?
Yeah, of course, it's exciting. I think to be doing this with the team, it's very nice here. But of course, it's the results we want here. It's the results we're here for. So that's what we're going to try to do first. Good
luck this evening. I'll let you go into the Walk of Champions. Let's go back to the main team that we have been talking about all season. The Cannes Stars, powered by the Iron Danes, lining up, ready, having a bit of a team chat. I wonder if we can get in with the Cannes Stars just for a minute. Sophie Hinners, let's talk to you, because this is going to be your first Walk of Champions as well. It's quite a lineup.
Yes, I'm very excited what's going to happen now.
The atmosphere is really, really building. It's nice to have you all back here together as well. Natalie, just tell me, how are you all feeling ahead of it?
I think we're all super excited. The atmosphere is amazing here, and we're all really excited to be here.
You've got the benefit of not having to jump this evening, so there may be a few excitements going into the arena, but at least you get to relax tonight.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, we just started talking tactics and then you run into us. So we were all like, no, but we have a nice evening and we are really excited for the next days.
We'll keep it quiet. We'll keep it quiet, those tactics. Walk of Champions is about to begin. The atmosphere is building. The excitement is building here in Riyadh.
Thank you very much, Rosie Turner, doing exactly what she does best. Get behind the scenes, get us some inside information, and start to mingle with those riders, start to mingle with those teams. We are moments away from the Walk of Champions and getting our first real official unveiling of these teams tonight competing in the quarterfinal. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to join Frederick de Backer and go into the ring to meet the teams that will be competing in today's GCL Super Cup quarterfinal. This is the Walk of Champions.
the show spectacle that will take place here in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, but also by the level of sports competition. A 1.25 million euro Super Grand Prix in total this weekend. There is 11 million euros to be divided over these top athletes and top horses. And now we're ready for the walk of the champions.
Right here to Riyadh to compete for the ultimate prize, the ultimate goal.
For the first time since its inception, the Global Champions Playoffs take center stage in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. For 5 years, Prague was the iconic setting for the world's best riders and horses in their quest for a spot amongst the champions of champions. It's now time for the playoffs torch to be passed on to Riyadh. A new chapter of equestrian legend is about to begin.
Swans, Checker does it, Checker is in, and Kukuk wins the Grand Prix. And we have the winner. Let's not fail here and get this win on board.
Unbelievable performance, unbelievable performance.
The GCL Super Cup, the ultimate challenge of team spirit and strategy. Past champions have proven that winning isn't just about clearing jumps, but seamless teamwork, unwavering focus, and nerves of steel. Teams working in synergy, with riders and horses performing towards a common goal. Strategies playing out like a clockwork dance. A 10 million euro prize purse awaits, but only those who master the art of team strategy will claim the ultimate prize.
What a tremendous performance. This is unbelievable. Look at that. Just flies over for the lead, for the win. There they come. They're going to win it. It's going to be back-to-back wins, and they've done it. That's unbelievably fast. Untouchable. Nothing can hurt her. Are they going to jump another clean sheet? They are becoming serial killers, these Can Stars. Cold-blooded serial killers. Are they going to do it again? Back-to-back wins and a major jump on the standings. They've done it again. What a performance.
The LGCT Super Grand Prix, the pinnacle of show jumping. The most extraordinary lineup of champions. Victories celebrated around the globe in some of the most challenging courses of the sport. 2 rounds, 1 arena, 1 chance. Rider and horse playing as one. No room for error. Timing, perfect strides, absolute focus. The event of the year. 15 riders stand ready, but only one will find their way into the Longines Global Champions Tour Super Grand Prix Hall of Fame, the champion of champions.
He can make it, he can make it, he can make it, he can make it, he made it! This goes well, this cannot go wrong, keep going, just keep going, it's coming, it's right there, push him, and there it is! Goodness me, that was magic, an emotional win, fantastic and phenomenal. Wow, if you have a good feeling on your horse and you know what you need to do, impressive how easy he does that. What a fantastic outcome it is. Ice now running through his veins, the killer instinct surfacing. Beautiful balance between talent and experience. Well, what an introduction to this Super Cup, to this playoffs weekend here in Saudi Arabia, in the kingdom. As you can see, the sun has set, the spotlights have come on, And this huge arena is now really coming alive and alive as the orchestra comes walking in, and the Arda dancers follow in their footsteps. A colorful entry to this opening ceremony that has become a tradition in the playoffs, at the playoffs. 5 years of Prague, and now the debut for Riyadh. And the first ever outdoor playoffs since we started indoors at the O2 Arena in Prague, in the Czech Republic. And as you may have heard and read, from now on it'll be an alternating event. 1 year in Riyadh, the next year back in Prague, and so back and forth. Backdrop here against those skyscrapers in the financial district. At the other side of the main road that surrounds this financial district, you find this huge facility where, if I'm right, the Saudi tour, Jump Saudi, will be held. There you have it. As a vein, an artery that runs through the heart of the city, splits this venue with the financial districts. Mascots on the side as well. They've traveled from Doha to Miami to Mexico, then to Shanghai, back to Europe, Madrid, and all the European stages. They then join us here for the final stage of the season, as this is not really a stage of the regular season, it's an extra stage, stage number 16, the playoffs. As now the teams will be presented, and they will come in reverse order of the regular standings. That means that Monaco Aces will be first to go. Monaco Aces, powered by Lion of Porsches here, with Mariana Frauches Chavez, with Ines Joly there in front. In the middle is Luis Felipe de Azevedo Neto, and in the background Celine Schoonbrood de Azevedo. Team that finished in 14th, and so they will also be the first team to go. For Ines Joly, it's a big weekend. Not only is it her first Super Cup, but it will also be her first ever Launching Global Champions Tour Super Grand Prix. She is a Super Grand Prix contender after winning the stage in Monte Carlo with Ambassador Z. They're the young talent that is Mariana Frauches Chavez, Brazilian rider, who trains with Luis Felipe de Azevedo, Luis Felipe Filho de Azevedo. And she is Mariana, the L25 rider. And Celine Schoonbrood and Luis Felipe, husband and wife, of course. And in the beginning of the season, even their son competed on the team, Luis Felipe Neto de Azevedo. Scandinavian Vikings this weekend with Jur Vrieling, Nicola Paul, Saraving Ralkova, and Donald Whittaker, who has come in to replace Evelina Tovek, who has put her international show jumping career on hold.
From Germany,
and that is Vingralkova. Here's Nicola Paul and Jur Vrieling in the back, a man who started his campaign actually with the Prague Lions, and then mid-season got transferred to these Scandinavian Vikings.
The Scandinavian Vikings.
Coming in as the second team to go later in this quarterfinal, because of course they finished second last. Also Hendrik von Neckermann, Johann Sebastian Gullitin, Jordi van Massenhoven, Jorge Mate Cadevilla, all were part of this team throughout the season. New York Empire in the end finished in a 12th position. New York Empire powered by Lugano Diamonds. Here with Dennis Lynch, with Spencer Smith, with David Will, and with Jody Hall McAteer. But this season also Barry Sellen, Richard Vogel and Scott Brash on their roster. Twice they finished on the podium in Mexico City and in Valkenswaard, but they also had an upsetting round in Paris and in Ramatuelle, which meant that they find themselves lower than expected on the final standings. But this is, for many teams actually, a weekend with possibility, with options for redemption. It has been a tough weekend or tough season for Mexico Amigos, as they had some injuries with both horses and riders, and the recent injury of Muda Zayada meant that Emanuele Gaudiano came in to replace him. Gaudiano is supported by Francesco Turturiello and by Giacomo Casadei, so it's actually an all-Italian lineup, but this is the first team that comes in with only 3 riders, and in fact it is also the only team who only has 3 riders here. So this is a, you can call it a light team for this weekend. Should they be able to take it far in this competition, they cannot make any rider changes, only horse changes. And the question is, do they have enough horsepower to survive the weekend? Turturiello, Gaudiano and Casadei here in the Walk of Champions for Mexico Amigos, a team that finished 11th on the overall standings. Labeled as favorites at the start of the season by experts, fans and rivals, the Shanghai Swans. However, the Swans did not make top 4. On the contrary, on the overall standings, the Shanghai Swans only finished in 10th, despite their stellar lineup. Listen to this: Ben Meyer, Christian Alman, Daniel Deuse, Jean Sadran, Max Kühne, Pius Schwitzer and Samuel Hutton. In their midst, they have the LGCT champion of 2024, the man qualified for the Super Grand Prix. That is, of course, Max Kühne. Also for this team, and especially for this team, for the Shanghai Swans, who won the Global Champions League Super Cup in 2019. This really is a redemption weekend. It has to happen now. It has to happen this weekend. For example, in the quarterfinal, Meyer with Point Break, Kühne with Electric Blue and Deuse with Killer Queen. This is going to be the strongest team in that quarterfinal, but that is to analyze later on. Shanghai Swans just in front of Shanghai Swans on the overall standings, finishing in 9th, and that being their best result to date on the championship is Istanbul Warriors, powered by Carpe Diem Equestrian, with Abdel Said, Andreas Kau, Angelica Augustsson. Zanotelli was part of the team, Derin Demitsoy, FSCI, Geraldine Straumann, Hassan Sentur, Olivier Robert and Sasha Nygaard-Lille. This is also a team that struggled with injuries. Abdel Said broke his ankle. It was a wrist injury, a fracture for FSCI. So they had to struggle throughout and work throughout the season, had to maneuver themselves around those injuries. But now, for this weekend, they are here with Scar, with Robert, with Abdel Said and with FSCI. right up until the final stage of the season, the next team was actually in contention to still maybe make top 4 and skip these quarterfinals and go straight to the semi-finals. I'm talking about Valkenswaard United, the two-time champions of Global Champions League. Valkenswaard United with Adrian Taps-Alexander, Gilles Thomas, Jack Ryan, John Whittaker, Marco Zening and Oliver Lazarus. And it's Taps-Alexander, Thomas, Ening and Lazarus who are here on site. They've got the leading horse of the season in their team, Equine America, Unique de Frappard, but Whittaker did not travel to Saudi Arabia. So in quarterfinal, it'll come down to fellow Castlefield, to Coolio and to Luna van het Dennenhof for the two-time champions in 2016 and 2021. This team has got a very special connection with the Super Cup. They've won the Super Cup in its first year in 2018, and this is their talisman. It is Eduardo Alvarez Aznar. With Aznar on the team, they have always made the final. The 1 year that Aznar was not on the team, they did not. Aznar was also the man who clinched the deal in 2018 as the final man to go, the last to go, to then win the Super Cup for Madrid in motion. This season, mixed bag of results, some podium places, a win even in Rome, but it was too little, too late. Eduardo Aznar, Manuel Fernandez Saro, Mark McCauley and Michael van der Vleuten. That is their Riyadh lineup for 2024. Rome Gladiators, powered by ClipMyHorse.tv, can be proud of their season performance. They managed to win 2 stages in Miami and in Rabat. They podiumed in Riesenbeck and in Rome, but in the balance hangs the elimination in Mexico City as well as their last place in Cannes. And that meant that the team, in the end, finished in 7th place. It was mainly their phenomenal stint in Rabat that shot them up the ranks and into 7th place. Kyle Tim, a mid-season signing, was standout and maybe the best rider of the second half of the season. And there was Laura Kraut, Lorenzo De Luca, Marco Kutsche, Michael Duffy, Nina Malvet and Richard Howley.
The next team we welcome is the Prague Lions.
Rome Gladiators, powered by ClipMyHorse.tv. They finished in 6th place, and that means that here comes the team that finished in 5th and missed the semi-final by, what is it? Should you call that a hair? If less than a hair. Prague Lions, powered by the Czech equestrian team. There is the front runner. There is Niels Bruinseels, Thibaut Spitz, Peter de Vos and Fernando Martinez Sommer. But the team with also Angelica Auguston Zanotelli, Anna Kelnerova, and in the beginning of the season also Jur Vrieling, of course. Prague Lions just a point behind the Doha Falcons. And that means that Prague Lions jump the quarterfinals, the Doha Falcons do not. All the teams that we've seen so far are the teams that are going to compete in tonight's quarterfinal. The teams that we are bringing out now will only come in tomorrow for the semi-final. These are the 4 teams that finished in the top 4 of the regular championship. And for the first time in their existence, the Doha Falcons made the top 4. Who do we see? Well, we see Michael Pende, we see Willem Vermeer, we see Julien Auquetin and Jérôme Guéry, but it was also Rachid Almari and Simon de Lestrup, especially de Lestrup, who was a vital part of the team throughout the season. Back-to-back wins in Paris and in Stockholm. At a certain moment, it looked as if they were going to be even championship contenders, but then they dropped the form at the later stages. And in the end, at the final stage of the season, only just did they manage to secure their position inside the top 4. They have an easy day today, but they have a very important day tomorrow. The Stockholm Hounds, powered by H&M We Love Horses, with Antoine Herman, Jessica Springsteen, Julien Epaillard, Marley Bayard Johnson, Nicolas Philippins, Olivier Perrault and Olivier Philippins. They've got a lot of power, but can they, for the first time in their existence, finally make the final of the Global Champions League Super Cup? 2 years in a row, they went straight into the semi-finals, but never got out of the semi-finals. And so it's an important weekend for Marley Bayard Johnson, Johnson, Julien Paillard and the two Philippines brothers, the twins, come in action. This team finished third on the overall standing. One win for them. That was in Cannes at the Stade de Hesperides. Riyadh International, powered by Kingsland, put up a very fierce battle with the eventual champions. They had some great results, but not as impressive as last year. Add to that the elimination of the last place finish in Miami Beach and the elimination in Shanghai. And he just missed a little bit of luck to carry it across the line. They finished second in the end. Riyadh International, powered by Kingsland, Koekoek, McMahon, Harry Allen, Schulze Tophoff, Philipp Weishaupt and Richard Vogel this season. And here, the Olympic champion alongside his Riesenbeck teammates, Koekoek alongside McMahon, Schulze Tophoff and of course Weishaupt.
Our final team now.
They are the 2023 Super Cup winners, of course, the first team ever to win and the title of the regular season and the Super Cup. And that is now the challenge that this team faces. Can stars exist for a long time, but in Italy last year in Rome, a new project was announced. Can Stars, powered by Iron Dames, an all-female lineup, was going to take on the Global Champions League stage. Was it just a media stint? Was it just some promo? No, it was much, much more than that. In the end, they became champions in their first ever season together. Janne Frederica Meyer-Zimmermann, Kathrin Eckermann, Kim Ammen, Natalie Dean, Sanne Thijssen, and the rider of the season, young Sophie Hinners.
And now we have two.
They've totaled 4 wins this season. They had plenty of back-to-back podium finishes from Monaco, Riesenbeck, London and Valkenswaard. They could not be knocked off the podium. Can Stars, powered by Iron Dames, are the team to watch. And then coming in by himself is Johann Sebastian Gulliksen. He was a podium finisher in the Launching Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Paris. And as the winner, Jean Sadran, they could not attend the Super Grand Prix. His golden ticket, her golden ticket, got passed down to the third ranked in that Grand Prix. And that is Norwegian Johann Sebastian Gulliksen. If you remember, if you know the name Gulliksen, yes, this is Geir Gulliksen's son. What Geir never managed, Johann Sebastian managed in his first full year on the tour. Qualify for the Launching Global Champions Tour Super Grand Prix. And then, at the penultimate stage, an outsider, a dark horse, a man known for his speed, but did he have the quality to also win 5-star Grand Prix? Well, he really did. With the just 9-year-old Foxy de la Roque at Circo Massimo, Victor Bettendorf upset the apple cart by winning the Grand Prix and reserving that penultimate golden ticket to his name and to the country of Luxembourg. Is he an outsider for the win? No. Because of his recent form, this is actually one of the favorites for the victory in the Launching Global Champions Tour Super Grand Prix of Friday night. Victor Bettendorf from Luxembourg is a man to keep an eye on, to keep in account. And with that, all the riders for both the Global Champions League Super Cup and the Launching Global Champions Tour Super Grand Prix are now presented. And now everybody stands for the national anthem of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a closer look at how the teams will be shaping up for the rest of the week. That is all 15 of them, but today we know is all about the quarterfinal. 10 of those teams will be competing in today's opening round here in the GCL Super Cup. You got a really good look in there, Rosie. You were doing what you do best, behind the looks, behind the scenes, getting involved. That was a nice walk of champions, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's so nice to get to go behind the scenes. I think I have the best job that I get up close and personal with everyone. What I loved about it is that you can really feel the distance. We know it's different. This is the playoffs, but you can feel it with all the riders. They're so excited to be here. A few of them bouncing up and down on the spot.
It's that energy, playoff energy, isn't it?
It's just brilliant. And actually, we had some of that playoff energy last night as well, because we had the all-important GCL Season Awards for 2024. And it's such an important time to highlight some of the, I mean, I was about to say some of the brilliance of the season, but there's been so much brilliance, but just some of it, Mark.
It's all of it, and what I really like about it as well is that it shows you that it's not just about here today. It's not just about a quarterfinal or a semi-final. All of this is a culmination of what has taken throughout the entire season, and it brings us through here to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in Riyadh for the very first time for the GC playoffs. Let's show you a closer look as to what took place yesterday, as Rosie pointed out, at the end of season GCL Awards. You see that big smiling face of Thibaut Spitz having a closer look as to how his night went yesterday. Really good night as well, by the way. Named as the best under-25 rider at the Global Champions League 2024. And just like that, magically, we bring the best rider of the season in. Thibaut, you have a good dinner last night? A nice evening for you?
Yeah, it was a very nice evening. I think before coming here, I didn't expect to win the prize, or I knew I had a good season. But then to win the prize was a great feeling for me.
How was your take on it? I was going to say, lovely night, by the way. I mean, again, you had a wonderful opportunity. His Royal Highness, the Prince, was there. Young Top's president and founder was present. All these winners. What a wonderful coming together of all that excellence throughout the entire season, Rosie.
Yeah, absolutely. To have it all in one room at one time was really special. But particularly, it's nice, you know, we often see riders in this gear. It's nice to see everyone dressing up and having a moment to kind of reflect on the year. And like we said, you did win the under-25 best rider. I want to know, what has the Global Champions League done for young riders? Not just for yourself and your career, but for young riders. How does it put you on the map?
Yeah, I think it has had many young riders step up. I think, for example, Gilles Thomas or Mikey Pender, or I think there's many more who got to the top level through the Global Champions Tour. So I think that gives big opportunity for us, and let us take up for a big career ahead.
It's a really new generation coming through, isn't it?
I love the fact that there is that new generation. When we see the Nina Malaves, we see Ines Jolie, who's done so well on the LGCT stage this season, winning in Monaco earlier this year. So many of these young riders are all coming up together. Is there a bit of a bond growing? Is there a relationship growing amongst yourselves, knowing that for the next 10, 15, 20 years, who knows, you probably are going to be seeing these faces for quite some time.
Exactly. I think with most of them, we've gone through the youth, through all the youth generation, juniors, young riders, and then now to actually be just left with a few. The best of them, and then to come out. I think most of these riders have a very bright future ahead if all of us keep sound and keep having the right horses.
Is there some sort of, let me put this the right way, is there some sort of less pressure on a young rider? Because you're coming in as the under-25 into a team, and you do need to prove yourself, but again, you're also kind of known as the under-25. Is that less pressure?
Does that make it more pressure? There's
or more pressure,
Is there more because you're the young guy that needs to jump up the standard. Well, how does it go for you, Thibaut?
I don't know. I think if you can just start to do the shows as a third rider, I think that maybe gives less pressure that you just want to prove for yourself. But of course, if you want to ride for the team, if you do good, you'll have more opportunities. So that also gives a lot of pressure to do good and to prove and to be able to get selected again next time.
You mentioned Gilles, and I know that you and Gilles have a really good relationship, but you also have a really good relationship with a great group of Belgians that have been doing such amazing work this year. It's also a great sign of the GCL because you have friends in different teams that are coming to you, like Gilles in Valkenswaard United. You have the Philippaerts boys from the Stockholm Hearts. Is there a lot of communication between the different teams because you are all friends, because you are all growing up together, riding together? Is there that crossover between the different teams?
Yeah, I think also, okay, definitely we in the Prague Lions have 3 Belgian riders. So, of course, we get even more connected. But also, with all the other riders, all the other teams, I've get to know new people through the season. So yeah, it gives great connections, and also like at a normal show, you don't really have the time to talk about different things, and here you do. So I think I've really got to meet a lot of people this season, and I'm very thankful.
I know this is your first GCL Super Cup, so the format is going to be very different for you, that you would have jumped in a GCL stage. For anyone that has not seen what a GC playoffs look like, you'll be very, very well informed to learn that the format here is completely different. It is no longer what you see on any normal GCL stage. Let's take a moment to give you some information as to what a GC playoff stage looks like here at the GCL Super Cup quarterfinal.
The Global Champions League Super Cup quarterfinal features the 10 lowest ranked teams from the regular season. The last team in the standings is first to go in the quarterfinal. The 5th team from the regular season goes last in the quarterfinal. The top 4 from the regular season skips the quarterfinal and goes straight to the semi-final. This quarterfinal is a one-round competition with 3 riders on a team, and every result counts. Only the 8 best teams qualify for the semi-final.
Every score counts. That is what is so crucial here in a GCL Super Cup, because you have that third rider that throughout the season is able to take a break if not performing well. Here, Rosie, there is nowhere to hide. There is nowhere to try and take a break. All 3 riders jump. All 3 riders' scores count. And that's why this is completely different to anything else we've ever seen before.
Yeah, and also, Mark, I think we're also, we need to add in the other point is that every horse counts, and every team has to now find 3 horses. It's not just 2 each round, it's 3 horses. And that is something that you have to think about. And throughout the season, I mean, Thibaut, you proved yourself so early on, but coming into this, the team came 5th in the championship. Are you then the best in the qualifier? Are you the best, strongest team in the qualifier?
Okay, I think for sure we have a good team, but as you say, anything can happen, and if something happens, we can also drop last. Anything can happen. So I think for us, we just have to make sure today nothing terrible happens. Do as good as possible. You start from 0. Everyone starts on the same. So yeah, of course we wanted to be in the top 4 to be able to skip today. But okay, we didn't make it. So of course we gotta make sure to qualify us for tomorrow.
Thibaut, have you spoken to Fernando? Have you spoken to Peter about what you think is a safe score? Because fences are probably going to fall here. We see GCL stages being won on clean sheets. 3 riders, difficult circumstances. That's very unlikely. Fences will fall. Have you spoken to your teammates about what you think is a safety zone?
We got to see the course first. I think, of course, it's the final, so it's going to be huge anyway. So yeah, we'll see if many falls fall. Then, of of course, you ride and try to make the best of it. If we have to keep it with a low score, what's also possible, then also it puts a lot of pressure to not make mistakes. So I think for us that's maybe good in a way to see to be able to go late in the class, but also can give a lot of pressure, like knowing we can't have many mistakes. So yeah, I think for sure it will have to be good today.
All right, well, listen, Thibaut Spitz, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. We know it's a very big, tense evening to follow. Best of luck for Prague Lions.
Thank you.
Outstanding season. Best under-25 rider in the Global Champions League, awarded last night in the GCL Awards. That's Thibaut Spitz from the Prague Lions, powered by the Czech equestrian team. We take a look at the start list and remind you as to how things now look in the teams for the quarterfinals today. Rosie, thank you for your time. You have a lot to come as well. So we'll release you. You get into the ring. You start chatting to riders, and we start to talk about how things look now in the GCL Super Cup quarterfinal stage. And just like that, I magically wave my wand, and out with Rosie Turner and in with Frederik de Backer. This is how it looks today. And a lot has been spoken about how things need to shape up today. I asked Thibaut Spitz now, Frederik, what is the safety score? He says that he hasn't really discussed it just yet. Remind us, from a history perspective, what generally is a safety net that teams can fall back on and still make sure they come back tomorrow night?
The safety net, of course, is something that we have to keep in mind. It's always about Prague. We're always talking about Prague. That's where those historical numbers come from. Sorry, where is historical?
Shall we? I got you. I got you.
There you go.
There you are. That's what I'm here for.
That's where those historical numbers come from. Sure. And then a safety net is around and about in Prague between 12 and 16 penalties. Normally gets you into the semi-final.
And that sounds like a lot, but when you consider what normally is to be jumped and how tense this is, we're talking a fencer rider and maybe a second. That's all you have. So all of a sudden, 12 to 16. We think GCL stage, that sounds huge. In this environment, that is not a lot of leeway.
No, absolutely, absolutely. It's like you say, it's a rail per rider. And if you have one guy or a rider on your team that guarantees you a clear, somebody else can have an 8, but we know that 8s will fall, especially those first rounds in the quarterfinals in Prague. Sure. Or here are straight away meter 60. We're not talking about meter 55 rounds like we have normally in our GCL stages.
If we are talking about those penalties to fall and fences will fall, what do the statistics tell us about how these teams line up coming in today? Let's talk about the averages that these teams bring into the GCL Super Cup quarterfinal, because that might give us an indication as to historically where they find themselves at the end of a stage. What do the numbers tell us?
Yeah, well, we wanted to know which teams have got which chances. Who are their favorites? And you can do that by looking at horse ratings. We can also look at how teams and how riders, or actually horse and rider combinations, have produced average penalties per round. Every horse, every combination has got an average penalty per round over the entire season. Now, if you take the start list, you give every horse that's on the start list their average penalties per round. You add the 3 on a team together, you've got the average penalties per round that are expected for all of the teams.
And if this were the case, I mean, here we take a look at the first half, the first 5 teams, at least the first half of today. Shanghai Swans, a team that no one ever expects to jump in a quarterfinal. You have Daniel Deusser, you have Max Kuhner, who we know is juggling a few things today, but still, when you have Christian Alman, you have Ben Mayer, that penalty average tells us, according to your statistics you're suggesting, that Shanghai should have a very easy afternoon here. They should be safe, but this starts to become an interesting conversation, doesn't it?
Yeah, I want to get in on that Shanghai Swans story, because you asked me at the beginning of the season, Frederik, who's going to win the championship and who's going to be the favorites? And I said, more convinced than any other season before, Shanghai
Lock it
Swans.
in.
Yeah, lock it in.
And
they ranked 10th in the end. They win 1 stage, they get eliminated in 2 stages. I mean, they had... So, okay, from being at the top ranked team in the quarterfinal, you still have to drop 8 places to be out of the semi-final. That's maybe not going to happen, but I don't want to just say it's based on the numbers that they are at the top of the board, but anything can change. It's the same situation with, for example, New York Empire. On my count, they are last with 22.1 penalties per round as average. However, that is due to the 2 rounds that is Lynch jumped with Visto Grant, and those were 2 difficult rounds. and he didn't jump him in any other classes. Would not surprise me if that team, or at least Vistagrant, is going to surprise me this weekend, and they're going to do better than he did throughout the rest of the season. So it gives you an indication, and
there's that little bit of grey area,
that's exactly it. That's exactly it, and it's those statistics also come from round 1 and round 2 averages. And this is always both quarterfinal, semi-final, and final is always round 2 material and higher in terms of height. So actually you should take out those round 1 numbers as well. But it gives you a little bit of an indication of who sits where and who has to fear for their position. That's New York, that's Monaco, that's Scandinavian Vikings, that's Istanbul Warriors, powered by Carpe Diem. They're also in that group that really have to make sure that they don't do worse than in the regular season. That's actually the way to look at it.
However, let's talk about what is needed then today to get through to tomorrow, because normally we've often described this quarterfinal as a really brutal round, a very difficult night to jump, despite the semi actually being the bigger cut. Because of a few changes this season, the requirement is slightly different this time around here in Riyadh. Remind us ahead of tonight, what do you need to do as one of these teams that are perhaps on the lower end of that penalty count? What is your target? What is your goal here that you need to achieve to make a semi-final appearance?
Well, the target is actually the same as last year, or as any other Super Cup quarterfinal. You have to rank with the best 8 teams of the field. In previous years,
the odds are better in your favor now.
Yeah, and in previous years that was out of 12. 8 out of 12 went through. Now it's 8 out of 10. So only 2 teams will not go through. Easy weekend, though. Yeah, but imagine that you're not part of those 2 teams.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and especially for those first 3-4 teams that go in first, that's really difficult because time penalties, how does it work? I walked a few lines already. It's big straight away from day one, but that's what we expect. There's no excuses. Everybody knows what's coming at them. But there's also a few turns that I really wonder, a few lines that seem difficult. And the rail is not the problem, but a bigger issue, a stop, a refusal, 2 fences down in the combination, that's when you get in trouble. So it's easy to say, 10 teams only be with the leading 8. Only 2 teams will not make the cut. That's true, but it's the case for all 10 of them.
Imagine being rider 2 or rider 3 if some of your team members have put quite a few fences down and you find yourself already under major pressure. And then all of a sudden in a major format like this, you have to start delivering clears, which can be quite challenging if historically penalties have fallen a lot throughout your season. We know the Madrid Emotion have some special magic when it comes to the GCL Super Cup. We know that Eduardo Aznar in particular seems to conjure up that magic. He's standing by alongside with Rosie Turner.
Alongside me now, Eduardo Aznar here, who's just about to jump for Madrid in Motion today. Eduardo, first of all, just a thought on the course today.
Hi, yeah, for the first day it's a tough class. It's a qualifier for the second day, so they need to drop out two teams. So to start, it's quite delicate, big, but it walks quite good in the distances, and but it's tough jumping for the first day.
In 2018, Madrid in Motion won the Super Cup with yourself on the team, with Rockefeller as well. You're such a dream combination. In fact, I don't think you've ever not been in the team when it's got to the final round. How are the combination feeling? How is Rockefeller?
Well, I'm feeling very good, especially now the end of the season. He's been performing super. And after Rabat, he had a few weeks break, but now here he jumped very good yesterday in the warm-up, and he's going to jump today, so I hope he's in his best conditions.
It's 3 riders per round as well. You've got a great team with you and the horsepower as well.
Yeah, for sure. Anything can happen, but we have a strong team and strong horses, so I hope we can make it for Saturday.
Lastly, what have the team discussions been? Because obviously you've got to jump the Super Grand Prix as well. So tactically wise, finding the horsepower, knowing when someone's going to jump where, what have the tactics been?
Well, I qualified with Rockefeller, and I wanted to jump him in the Grand Prix, so we agreed that he jumps today in the first qualifier, and then I need to change horse. Also, we have Mark Macaulay here as a team member, so if anything happens, then he can come in for tomorrow. So first we need to jump today and be in the top 8 to do it for tomorrow.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Eduardo Alvarez Aznar and Madrid Emotion. Every single time, by the way, that Eduardo Alvarez Aznar has jumped for Madrid Emotion, they have made the final. He does seem to have somewhat of a magic touch for Madrid in Motion, giving us some insight as to what to expect later on today. We heard from Thibaut Spitz a little bit earlier on. Now time for us to go one step further, one step higher up, and that's Anna Kelnerova, who joins us in the studio today. Prague Lions, powered by the Czech equestrian team. Anna, you look very relaxed. You don't look like you're on the eve of a big GCL Super Cup quarterfinal. What is the magic to feeling and looking relaxed like this today?
Having a great team that's going to be jumping here.
Talk to me about your great team. I think that a lot of people realize and can take note that there is a legitimate organic relationship that is developing between the team. Is that just years and years of support? Is that great relationships? Is that great management? What gives the Prague Lions that energy that I think a lot of people really recognize?
I think one of the things is that a lot of the riders that we have on the team have been with us for quite a while. We've been able to ride for each other and support each other, but at the same time I think individually each one of them are real team players and understand that even though we try to help them, you know, with the schedule and make the shows a little bit according to them, when we need somebody to step in, they really do, because like you said, we try to have a team spirit.
I know there's obvious disappointment when you don't make it straight into the semi-final. We must discuss that. However, coming into a quarterfinal as the 5th ranked team, you are the best team in the quarterfinal, the last team to go. I don't want to say is that an advantage, because it obviously is, but does that put a spotlight on? Because surely as the 5th best team last to go, on paper we say, all right, Prague Lions, guaranteed, they should progress. Does that put a little bit of a target on the back, being so far down the starting lineup?
I think it can. Not maybe so much because of being in the final last year, but because you have a little bit more time to look, a little bit more time to discuss, which on one hand is great, but sometimes it's good just to see 1-2 horses, get into your plan, go into the arena and do your thing. Sometimes when you have more time and you get to analyze and reassess, you overanalyze and then you overcomplicate the way you ride in the ring. But the boys riding today are extremely experienced. They've jumped courses like this, so I hope they will be ready to do it.
And you have the best under-25 rider in the entire competition. Maybe a word on Thibaut last night. He was awarded as the best under-25 rider. What a find for you. What a sensational young man and a great rider. Your thoughts on the season that Thibaut has put together for Prague Lions?
Thibaut had an incredible season. We're really proud of the results he's been able to pull off. We're also very thankful that Niels 2 years ago brought him into the team. He's known him and his family for a very long time, and it was him that actually kind of suggested that we maybe should talk. Even though back then he didn't have at all the experience at this level, Niels knew that he could really develop into an incredible rider, and with his support, I think that's exactly what's happening right now.
Anna, what is a safe score here to get into the semi-final? We know that fences are going to fall. Some suggest 12, some say 16. What is the safety net required here for the Prague Lions to get into the semi-final?
Clear rounds.
Clear rounds?
Clear rounds.
3 out of them?
We have to aim for it, no?
All right, there you go. Anna Kelnerova, thank you very much for your time. Wonderful to have you here. Getting some thoughts and some perspective on the Prague Lions. Clean sheet, that's all that is required, says Anna Kelnerova. And the boys will make it through into the semi-final. Peter de Vos, and of course we know that Niels Braunsteels is here as well, but Thibaut Spitz and Fernando Martinez-Sommer getting ready for the GCL quarterfinal. They will be the last team to go after earning a 5th place finish overall in the championship. What the GCL Super Cup is able to do as well is gives you the opportunity to redeem your season. If things have not gone particularly well for you, a victory here in the playoffs will absolutely turn that season around. It is a story of redemption. It is an opportunity of redemption. Let's hear from Christian Allmann and the Shanghai Swans.
Our season wasn't like we would wish for, honestly, but we are part of a sport. We are part of a team competition with many really competitive teams, strong riders, good horses. So it's always high level competing, and small faults can have make a big difference in the ranking. So in general, we have to be like more concentrated, more focused, and we need a little bit the luck of the day, I think.
The 2019 Super Cup winners now here in Shanghai. There comes the home team, Shanghai Swans, first clean sheet of the season and the first win for Shanghai in 3 years.
Luckily in Shanghai it turns into the better direction, and Pius and Daniel made it happen. But in general, like all the other shows, if you pick only the good results, we were like for sure on the podium.
As it's a return to top-level show jumping for China, it is a return to the top level of the podium for Shanghai Swans.
Everything is possible for the Swans. We have a very good team, I think very good riders, good horses, well prepared. The horses travel good, and yeah, we start from zero. Luckily, every day is a new day, and everything is possible. We try to make a general plan. I'm here with one horse, Daniel with one horse, and Max and Ben, they have 2 horses each, and try to have the best possible team every day. Fresh horses, and always the view on Saturday evening. We start with Ben, Max and Daniel on the first day, and normally the plan will be that I replace Max in the half finals, and then after the high finals we sit together and try to present the best team for the final, if necessary, hopefully, to see how the horses are jumping, how they are feeling, and then to make the right decision. To plan this, to be very competitive, so you have to make many good decisions during the whole season. To have a competitive team, I think that's the main thing, the main goal.
Can you do it this week, realistically? Can you prove to everyone just how good you are?
For sure we can do it.
The helmet raised above the head of Daniel Deusser, looking back at that wonderful victory in Shanghai a few months ago. And there you hear from Christian Allmann. Find me a cooler, calmer individual in the world of show jumping. I will wait. Keeping the conversation going with the Shanghai Swans, team owner Tess Carmichael joins us in the studio. Talk to me about that calm energy of Christian Allmann. Is that chamomile tea? What is that that allows a man like that at such a big stage, Tess, to sit back as if he's having a Sunday lunch? I love the energy and I love the calmness. I mean, that must be a wonderfully calming feeling to have energy like that, to have, you know, mentality like that in your team.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just Christian. He's just completely laid back, and, you know, he cares still, but he's just, I think he's been and done this so many times that it's just, he has a really nice aura about him that's very calming.
Let's talk about who you bring here this week, Tess, because it is a monster lineup for the Shanghai Swans. It looks incredible on paper from a stable perspective and the horsepower, the riders that you have here. That has to shoot fear into teams around them. Surely you must be feeling really good about who you bring here. Remind us who is in Riyadh for you.
Yeah, so we've got Daniel Deusser, Christian Allmann, Max Kühne and Ben Mayer. So yes, I think I agree. On paper, that's a pretty stellar lineup.
That is an outstanding lineup.
And they brought some amazing horsepower with them as well. We've got like Blue, Killer Queen, Point Break, Mandado, like, so on the surface, it should be hopefully be an exciting weekend for us. But we take nothing for granted and we fight every step of the way.
Let's talk about then the energy coming into this. We talk about the calmness of Christian Allmann, but what is the team conversation been like coming to Riyadh? You know you have the lineup, you know you have the horsepower, but you also know that maybe the season didn't deliver the results you were hoping for. What has been the team talk? What has been your messaging coming into Riyadh?
The team has continued to stay very positive. I think, yes, we haven't really had the season we probably would have hoped for, but that's not from anyone's like lack of trying or, you know, anything like that. We just haven't had a bit of luck on our side. Like, there was a couple of shows that maybe we chose the wrong rider combinations, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. And if you look back, you could be like, oh, we'd done that. That would have gained us a lot of very vital points. But, you know, it's a very positive team. We've got a great team spirit, including with all the owners, the grooms, the riders. Like, everybody wants this, and everybody's really pushing for a good result to finish our year.
We often talk about the Super Cup as a redemption stage, a stage that really can offer that. after things not going the way you wanted in the season, a victory here by the end of the weekend, does that just completely redeem the season? Would that be a season leveling incident for you to be able to really celebrate at the end of the year?
To be honest, I think we'd want to win anyway. I think if we'd won every leg of the tour, you would still want to come here and do it again. All right. Okay. And like, it's hard because I don't feel like we have to redeem ourselves or anything. Yes, we haven't had the results probably that you would expect from the team. But as I said before, everyone's come every week. They've really pushed hard. Like maybe they've brought some less experienced on, which is great for us in the future. But, I feel like they've really tried and everyone's pushed. So I don't really feel they have anything to redeem themselves for because they've turned up every week, done their absolute best. And yeah, we want to come here and win, full stop, whatever happens.
Can we talk about the magical moment in Shanghai a couple of months ago? Because I feel that when we will be creating the end of season highlights, the end of stories, the end of season stories, the return to China was an incredible moment. And for you and your team to cap that off with a return to the top of the podium, now that dust has settled, do you reflect back on that moment? What kind of energy, what kind of thoughts come to that?
That was literally a storybook, and Daniel and Piers delivering 4 clear rounds. That was amazing. You couldn't have asked anything more from them, and to do it at our home show was incredible. And that venue looked spectacular. And the atmosphere there was unbelievable. So it was a fantastic win on that home soil.
Tess, best of luck for not just today, for the entire weekend, because you made the great point. You want to go deep into this competition, and to many people, many people, a real serious threat for the overall GCL Super Cup title. The Shanghai Swans are stacked with horsepower. They are stacked with rider power, and they are, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the most dangerous teams to look out for here this week in Riyadh. Frederik de Backer, let's talk about what Shanghai Swans and everyone else is going to have to ride. You are currently in the ring for us. Let's talk about what has been designed here. No longer about a round 1 or round 2. It is all about this, the only round. What faces us here tonight in the quarterfinals?
It's an interesting course, Mark. Straight away, it hits you in the face. It's a 1.60 m course right from the get-go. There's no warming up, there's no getting ready. If you jump that first fence, it's 1.60 m. But I want to talk very early. The approach 1 to 2 is 9 or 10 strides. Does not really matter. That's not what this is about. The next part is what it's all about, Mark. Because we have to go over there. We have to go to fence 3. Now we've got 2 options already. And if you're an early team, you have to make up your mind. Are you going to go inside or outside? How about the time allowed? Should I go inside or outside? And if the fence was there by itself, I would always advise to go inside. It's 1.10 m wide, it's 1.55 m tall, so back rail wise, it's not unbelievably difficult. So you would say, all right, so there's room enough, take that inside turn. The problem is actually what follows next. If you jump this straight in this direction, you have to curve towards 4A and 4B. And if you walk it heart to heart through the center line, that is a very, very long 6. So if the 6 gets long, you really have to ride up. It comes with a plank to jump out. So that's a little bit of a difficulty. So, okay, what do you need to get the 6? Well, if you want to get the 6, you have to be able to fly over this oxer. Maybe then the outside approach gives you a little bit more of a flow, a good swing over the oxer to get the 6. Now that's one way of thinking. The other way of thinking is what we often call the Marlon Zanotelli way of thinking. Don't make it difficult for yourself, just cut the line, literally, and jump it on the angle, and just bet your 6 strides. That means that you may have to correct just before the double combination, but maybe it's a possibility. And then, again, we come with that inside turn approach and jump that on the angle. I'll just take you there so you really understand how it exactly sits. This is still going straight. And then here, what is that? That's 3 strides out. Then you have to make your turn and go into that combination. Now there's a lot to be said. If my cameraman just comes here, you have to look at what you'll be jumping towards, Mark, to really understand what this double combination is all about. First, there's the colors, there's the plank in the background, but just look at behind, at the huge LED wall. So much to distract the horses. So getting here in a very stable position, a very stable situation, seems to be crucial, because then you will be jumping that plank. You're jumping towards the in-gate. You are, well, what is it, 10 meters out from the in-gate, and horses will anticipate on the turn that is to come. So you have to give somewhat of an indication. So keeping that horse straight will be crucial. I don't know yet. I hear some riders say, yeah, I'll go outside with good gallop. Others say, no, I'll come inside and cut that line, cut through the middle. It's a little bit, it's not decided just yet. We'll have to wait and see. If you look at this entire course, it feels like this is the course of combinations. 4AB, the line with the combination. Here we've got 8A, 8B, that's vertical oxer, and then 4 strides to tall vertical, white rails with a very, very bright Liverpool underneath. And they've poured some water in it. And you can see already, I imagine it's to be seen on camera as well. As you come closer, the light shines onto the water and you get the reflection that will distract horses. Don't be surprised, this will distract horses. So that's the second of 2 combinations. Now, officially, this is an Uliano Vezzani track. And what does an Uliano Vezzani track always have? Yeah, that's a double of uprights on a long open distance. And that's what he's built once again. And it's in the final line, to be fair. It is the line from 11 to 12A and 12B. There you have it. Saudi Equestrian Jump Saudi, the fences right by Hospitality. What a beautiful Hospitality, by the way. A triple bar that measures 1.90 meter wide. I mean, that's almost the span of an albatross, I think, and certainly not my span. But how do you have to ride this? Because it's or a very short 6 or it's a very long 5. Now, the worst thing that you can do is override this triple bar. You have to think about the 1.90 meter width of this triple bar. It's always about jumping the triple bar first, not using the triple bar to get there on the flat 5. Jump this first with a little bit of punch and then see what you'll be getting. I would, if I would be riding this horse, then I would do it on 5 always. But some will try to get 6, and if you just come a little bit closer, what Vezzani has done here and his team, the Italians, the first vertical is 1.55 meter tall. The second vertical and last fence of this entire course is 1.60 meter tall. So, yeah, I don't know. When I walked it on 5 strides, I found myself here. If the cameraman turns, I found myself approximately here on my 5 strides. And you see, yeah, that's just, it just doesn't cut it. You'll get, yeah, you'll choke on the top rail of the first vertical. Yeah, you need to want to get here more or less, here somewhat. So you have to be able to or shorten or just cover that distance. But if you want to cover it and you don't want to fly in, and you have to be sure that you've got your horse on the hind leg, you've got your horse balanced, you're not rushing either of these fences. Jump every fence at a time. Though this is the puzzle. It's first about jumping the triple combination and then deciding what you're going to do. Of course, come in with a plan, but don't use that triple bar to make up for this one. Mark, it's a course of doubles, I feel, in this quarterfinal of the Super Cup. It's interesting.
Frederick de Backer and I are wearing matching suits, just in case you're wondering. Before Riyadh, we made sure to go get ourselves tailored suits of the same color, that here on the GCL Super Cup quarterfinal, him and I could look like that. Frederick de Backer, thank you very much for your insight. It is a round of doubles, he suggests, and a GCL Super Cup quarterfinal to look forward to in a few moments' time. The good news, we said at the top of the show, is that there is over 11 million euros up for grabs at the start of tonight's action through to the end of the weekend at the GC playoffs here in Riyadh. More than 11 million euros. And that starts for prize money from tonight already, from the quarterfinal. Don't think that because it's not the final that you can only win the big money there. Already from this evening, the top place teams will start to earn some serious prize money. This is what it looks like, breaking down the payments and the prize monies of the GCL Super Cup quarterfinal tonight. Now remember, 10 teams competing. The top 8 go through into the semi-final. And if the top team goes through, there is going to be some cash that is able to be collected. 200,000 euros up for grabs already for the team tonight that finishes as the best placed quarter-finalists. 180 for second, 170 for third. And then so it begins to decrease as you go down. But already 1.35 million euros up for grabs in already just the quarter-final. So some major prize money being distributed from tonight through to the end of the weekend. All of these teams competing tonight are looking to try and get their hands on at least their share of that 200,000 euros. Let's see how the Rome Gladiators, powered by clipmyhorse.tv, are feeling. Some course walk insights from Lorenzo De Luca standing by. Rosie, let's hear from Lorenzo.
Well, Lorenzo De Luca alongside of me for the Rome Gladiators. First of all, what is your take on the course?
It's a very nice course, very fair, I have to say. 3 doubles for sure. It's very delicate, tricky, but I think it's very fair. To be the first day, I think we're gonna see some good rounds. Faults bit everywhere because the oaks are wide enough, big verticals, and 3 doubles. It is a bit tricky, especially at the end. So
well, let's walk this last line then. This is, I mean, this is big enough as it is for a second line.
Wide, I have to say. That's very wide at the end of the course, and then you really need to collect for the double vertical.
Let's walk it. Walk it with me. Tell me what you're thinking. Let's see if you can count, because some of these riders, we do this quite a lot, and none of them can count out loud as we're going. But this is counting the strides into this final line, and it is going final line into a double here, Lorenzo.
Yeah, it's 26 meters, so I will go for the 6 strides very short. Try to get a little bit deep on the triple bar with a good rhythm to have a good push for the triple bar, and then I just try to stay tall and collect to give a good space on the really big coming in. It's quite tall. I think it's for sure 160, and yeah, and then support for B. But I think that's very tricky, especially at the end of the course. But I definitely gonna go for an extra stride. Few probably they're gonna go a little flat on 5. It's a little bit. It depends on the horse that you have, but for sure the safest is to add on 6.
The team have a bit of an advantage today in the sense that you get to go second last. You're just before the Prague Lions, so you're going to get a bit of a chance to watch some of the teams. Who will you be watching? Who are some of the teams that you really pinpoint to look at?
Well, I think there are for sure the last 6 teams. They're very competitive. They have the best horses with very good riders. But everyone is quite competitive here. I think everyone is in form and focusing so much on this playoff. So we will see a good sport.
We talk about tactics quite a lot, and actually the order of riders we don't talk about very much. You're coming in last for the team. What was the reason for that?
It was quite casual, I have to say. No, okay, we have 3 good horses, like Dynasty with Nina has been so good, and Kyle with Calvin also. Denver has been amazing through all the season. So hopefully he can confirm and have a good round before his Super Grand Prix on Friday night.
You'll have the pressure on your shoulders today, Lorenzo. Very good luck, and thank you for talking through the course with us.
Thank you so much.
Some nice insight from Lorenzo De Luca, talking about the width of those oxes, talking about the multiple doubles that are lined up here tonight, set up by Uliana Vizzani. We expect it to be big, we expect it to be challenging, and it looks like already here in the GCL Super Cup quarterfinal, all of those challenges have been laid down by the Italian maestro. The Rome Gladiators, powered by clipmyhorse.tv, giving us some thoughts and some reaction from Lorenzo De Luca. We'll continue to get some reaction from the riders as we get closer and closer to the start, the kickoff point of today's first round of the new playoffs here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the very first time in Riyadh as it hosts the playoffs. Let's talk about Valkenswaard United. Last night, by the way, John Whittaker and, of course, Unique de Frampont was celebrated and awarded extremely well for the GCL season that they have had. No John Whittaker here. There is Gilles Thomas. We know Edwina Tops-Alexander, Marcus Eining. They are going to lead that line for Valkenswaard United, a team that historically has always done incredibly well in Global Champions League seasons and has gone on to go win as well. Let's hear then from Edwina Tops-Alexander as the Australian gives some thoughts to Rosie.
Well, a team that just missed out on that top 4 position is Valkenswaard United, but they always have great form here at the playoffs. Edwina Tops-Alexander next to me now to talk all things playoffs. But I want to start with that top 4 positioning because it really was just missing out on it.
Yeah, it was such a shame because, you know, we would have liked to have had that in our program and prepare a little bit differently. And unfortunately, it is what it is. So we just have to go in there and do the best we can.
The points this year were incredibly close, particularly in that sort of top 8. How competitive has this season been compared to others?
I think super competitive because the scores have been super close and everybody's been fighting to make sure that they're in the semi-finals, you know. So it's been tight and there's been a lot of teams that have been very close to each other throughout the whole season. So it's quite exciting.
You've always been in the finals for the playoffs. The team have such great form here. What makes the playoffs different to a normal GCL round?
I think there's just so much pressure there and the teams have been building and building up for this particular moment throughout the whole year. Everyone gets their horses, you know, they make this sort of the occasion of the year for their horse and for their team and puts their first foot forward. And yeah, it's super exciting. I think the pressure that all the riders have makes it very exciting for the spectators, and you do see all sorts of things happening. So it is quite different. You know, it's really a different kind of pressure. And I never forget the first playoffs that we had. The first rider that came in, the first team, stopped on the 3rd fence and fell off and out. So it is pretty exciting. So let's see what happens. Yeah.
We can really see your face light up talking about the playoffs and so many other riders as well. We are in a different location this year. Just tell me the differences that you are going to face because it's a different climate, it's a different arena, we're outdoors as well.
Yeah, look, I mean, this facility and what they've done and what they've created here for this event is spectacular. We expected that. Last year was an incredible show that we had here. The final, so I think everyone is, you know, we're pleasantly surprised at how good they can do things, but we know that it's very well done. It is a lot different because the ring is a lot bigger, which does make it a lot easier. And but you never know. Some horses are better in smaller rings, some in bigger rings. But Prague is very tough. It's very small. The fences come up very quick. It'll be just as big as it will be here. And I think in Prague, you know, that you have the audience is really right there on top of you. But here is incredible. You know, they've got a double-decker VIP there, and it's going to be cozy, but it's going to be some tough rounds coming up.
Edwina Tops-Alexander speaking to Rosie Turner a little bit earlier on, giving us some thoughts on what to expect today in the GCL Super Cup quarterfinal. Definitely a stage, a round that a team as historically brilliant as Valkenswaard do not expect to be jumping. But again, as we mentioned, there is a lot of firepower in that lineup, and you would imagine that they would quite easily negotiate this quarterfinal and make their way through to tomorrow's semi. A really interesting point that Edwina Tops-Alexander makes there is the difference in ring size. And it might be quite difficult now that the actual action isn't underway just yet for you to get a full impression of just how big this is. From a playoff perspective, we know, as Edwina pointed out, that normally jumping in Prague, that very tight, small, intimate arena, it's a very different challenge. Let's give you an indication as to just how big this Riyadh ring is in comparison to previous playoff rings in the O2 Arena in Prague, because we are talking about a significant difference between the two locations. Here is an idea as to what the GC Prague playoffs look like at just 65 by 37. It is small, it is tight, it is intimate. But now take a look at the difference when Riyadh comes in at 90 by 55. Significantly bigger, far more room for Uliana Vidzani to play with and far more room for the riders to work with. That is the difference between two rings that have hosted the playoffs previously in Prague, now in Riyadh. It is going to be a first-time experience for every single rider jumping here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just moments away from the start of the quarterfinal. Before we get into the ring, let's go through Rosie one final time to get some reaction from the warm-up arena. Final touches being made. Rosie, let's talk about the warm-up. Let's talk about maybe what final comments have been made by these riders. What kind of energy are we talking about here in the warm-up tonight?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. As you said, I'm here in the warm-up. It's actually very quiet back here. You can kind of feel the atmosphere building. But if we look into the warm-up arena, you can actually see there are two warm-up arenas. The one with the cover over it and the lights as well. And that's where a few of the riders will be warming up on the flat, just getting their horses prepared to come into this main warm-up arena. And as you can see now, we currently have the Monaco Aces and the Scandinavian Vikings in here at the moment. And if just popping over a fence in the middle here is Celine, just popping over that fence. And actually I just spoke to Celine off camera and she said that the course looks fair to her, but she's feeling a little nervous.
We seem to have lost you there, Rosie. I apologize. Getting some thoughts of the Monaco Aces, some technical troubles there. I beg your pardon. We will try to come back to you in a few moments' time. But for now, we continue to build up and get ready for the start of the action. This is the start list officially. It's very easy for you to work out. Take the end of season standings and swap them around. It means that Prague Lions, who find themselves 5th at the end of the season, will be right at the bottom. They will be the last team to go. It does mean, unfortunately, that for the Monaco Aces, the last place team in the 2024 season, they will be first to go. Scandinavian Vikings, New York Empire, powered by Lugano Diamonds, who have had a real tough history in the GCL Super Cup in years gone by. If I'm not mistaken, only one semi-final appearance before. I stand to be corrected there, but it has not been historically a very good place to jump for New York Empire. 5 attempts, in fact, confirmed, and only progressing from the quarterfinal into the semi once. Shanghai Swans, we spoke about them, we spoke about their strength, we spoke about their power, and then you start moving down the line to those top finishing teams in the season. The Falcons-Wart United, into the Prague Lions. Those are the teams that we are looking to make this progression straight forward. We will be joining in a few moments' time and make sure that we then go inside the ring as we get ready for the start of the 2024 GCL Super Cup quarterfinal. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Welcome to the beautiful city of Riyadh. Let's go and start the action. This is the opening day of the playoffs. This is the GCL Super Cup quarterfinal.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first of 4 great nights of show jumping here in Saudi Arabia in Riyadh. The Global Champions Playoffs have officially started, and here on Wednesday we kick off with